really, at the end of the day, it's just the matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
That's why it's really important to have a plan. Have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is impermanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, so we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Welcome to the DGen Roundtable. Today we have a very special guest, Almighty, and we are going to be talking about a whole slew of different topics. As you know, every other Wednesday we host a guest, split between our Whiskey Wednesday streams, which are Ask Me Anythings. So next week, I believe, we'll have a Whiskey Wednesday for you all to, join in from the community, have some fun on stream, and, shoot the shit a little bit. So really excited. Almighty is the creator and founder of the token on Pulse Chain, Mike, and he's been very gracious to come on our show and talk about not just Mike, but a little bit of his plans in the future for his ecosystem. Tell us a little bit about himself, and we're really excited to have you. So welcome.
Thank you, appreciate it, brother. It's good to be on. This is my first time hearing about the show, so it's actually kind of cool to be a special guest on it now.
We appreciate it. Will, Nate, how you guys doing?
Aloha, everybody. I am chilling over in the Illinois-Indiana border, somewhere over in the middle of nowhere, doing some work on a tower, just hanging out. I'm stoked to get this conversation going. I've been dabbling with the Monsters Inc. ecosystem, the Mike token, and all that stuff for a while now, trading back and forth. And so I'm glad to talk to you, bro. Welcome to the stream. Let's get it going.
Oh, yeah, appreciate it, man.
Hell yeah. No, I've been holding Mike for a minute now. It's one of those that I look at and I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I just grab it, of course. I'm a complete degen over here at the DGen Roundtable. But yeah, no, having good times. I'm really looking forward to this conversation because there's a lot of really awesome freaking things that you've got planned here, Almighty. So I say let's get right into it.
Yeah, bro. Appreciate it.
Hey, everybody out there. I see a bunch of our regulars already checking in, which is great. See some new faces. Welcome, welcome. For those of you who have never watched the DGen Roundtable before, we stream our regular shows on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We bring a lot of alpha, a lot of information regarding the current markets, current news, and we put out a quarterly thesis every quarter to our Telegram chat. So if you're not there, join up. We provide a lot of private conversations, private calls, and a lot of alpha there, which we'll get into more later. So, Almighty, welcome. Tell us, I don't think everyone knows you, and a lot of people know your token, but tell us how you got into crypto and a little bit about yourself.
What's up, bro? Well, my name's Elijah, first of all, but everyone calls me Almighty, so doxed. I've been in the ecosystem for a while. Kind of just started being vocal 6 months ago or whatever, because I just would see a lot on the chain. Like I was always active, always on Twitter, just in the good telegrams, and I felt like I had good insight on what was going on. So just started, I guess, becoming a little more popular recently. Got some more followers, and yeah, people just like what I have to say half the time, which is pretty cool. Just being young and having older folks, boomers, listen to me. I don't know, it's cool. But how I got into crypto is Bitcoin from the dark web. That was my introduction. So yeah, I was buying some weed on the internet as a 15-year-old in 2015, $400 Bitcoin. So like, it was using half a Bitcoin to go buy small increments. And so now it's 40 grand, 30 grand worth. It's silly. So realized that not too long ago, and was like, oh, I played, because I didn't know that Bitcoin was an asset that went up in value. I assumed that it was just a way to get money through the internet. I had no idea. And my buddy like just did everything, so I didn't never have to like buy it. Just gave him money, got the Bitcoin, cool beans. Fast forward, all right. Got into PulseX Sacrifice. I would buy like shit coins on Coinbase, didn't understand cycles. Yeah, just like everybody else. And then PulseX Sacrifice was given to me by my neighbor. He was like, man, you need to do this. Like, I feel like this is an opportunity, because he made money on Hex. Like he bought Hex at like a penny, ran up to 50 cents. So he was euphoric. Then he sacrificed. And then he was telling me, like, you need to sacrifice. Like, you're young. Like, if you put money in this, is like early thing. And I was like, well, I've never been early on anything. So like, let's give it a try. And I got 7 million PulseX for $2,500 because it was late.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I sacrificed for PulseX like day. Oh, I got the max. Man, that's crazy.
It's bad, bro. So I won't break even for a long time. But I didn't care, right? That was like me. It was $2,500 for me to go learn. So I took that and I went, and Huddle Dog was my first YouTuber. So like his voice is like nostalgic in my head because I just listened to him at work all day. So just kind of buckled down, learned real heavy, like really heavy. It was like obsessive, because that's how I am. Like if I want to learn something, I'm going to learn it like 100%. I don't want to just know a little bit about it, because if I want to get in a conversation with somebody, especially this was my way to be better at finance than most of Americans, most people in the world, period. So I took that and I learned, took the, DCC's, CMC's little mindset course. That helped a lot. That helped me understand the cycles. Listen to every Richard Hart stream you could possibly think of, read the books, just fool. I was RH Maxi, dude. I was Hex Maxi. And I'm glad I kind of fell off of that, because there's a lot of opportunity out here. But yeah, I got in this PulseX Sacrifice, learned, PulseChain came out, and then here we are, just kind of rode that wave until now, bro. That's like my crypto history.
Yeah, it's crazy. I won't get into my history because I feel like most of the people here have heard mine already. But I did sacrifice for PulseX, and like we said off stream, I was on PulseChain when it launched, seconds. Literally, it couldn't have been more than a minute or two on a fresh launch. And my first transaction fee was 0.001 pulse. It was nothing. So I had all my ETH that got copied over. I had enough pulse to do my first transaction, which helped because I was able to help a lot of people after that, just send people free pulse so that they can get transactions going. Because a lot of people sacrifice for PulseX, right? And if you weren't on right away, I sent Will pulse to make his first transaction. We didn't even know each other back then. He was just like, I don't know. I don't have pulse. I can't make any transactions. I'm like, I got you, brother. And so we sent him some pulse, and we were doing that for a bunch of people, just trying to get people up and running. And that's kind of how this channel started. We kind of had a small group of leaders that were helping people in the community, helping people in the crypto mindset course chats, and really just being leaders in this sort of area. And we were born from there, born in the fire of the bear market, as we say. So I want to give a few shout outs before we continue here. We can we just roll through those comments real quick. What's up, Farmer Brown? Welcome to Smoke For You. Welcome. Not sure if this is their first time at the channel, but appreciate you having you here. Mikey. Sully releasing on stream.
And Sully is spelled with an E, by the way. I don't know why everyone spells it.
Yes, it is spelled with an E, and I even spelled it incorrectly, but it is with an E. Centurion, welcome to have you, brother. I feel like you were here every single stream, no matter what day of the week it is. Thank you.
Thanks.
Taylor, we've had a lot of red weeks in a row in PulseChain, so we are ready for some green candles. But don't fade. Just be ready.
Sure.
Yo, the intro is fire. I'm gonna give a shout out to Josh for that. He really put together a great intro.
I was gonna tell you guys that intro was pretty dope. Gave me a little goosebumps. Okay.
Thanks, brother. Thanks. Appreciate that. Katsumoto, Sully is coming, spelled correctly.
Yeah.
We'll get into that tonight. Angry Twinkie.
It's the OG right there.
Oh yeah. Crypto Sloth, what's up, buddy? Hey, I just want to give a quick shout out. Crypto Sloth, he's taught a lot of us about liquidity and LPs and everything that you can think of. He is going to be starting another course. It's going to be like a 2-day course. So go check out his channel, go check out his course, because it is invaluable information. If you're new, if you're sort of an intermediate, understanding, liquidity and understanding it from Crypto Sloth is not a better teacher. So get in on that course.
Very true.
Who else we got? A couple more here. Tam, thank you. Number 1 fam, Tam, appreciate it. Gains by Casey. Love you, brother. Thanks for hopping in. And Gibson, welcome. Welcome to the show.
That's my best friend, man.
I love it. Appreciate you joining in. All right, so let's hop into it. So we kind of have a little backstory about you, how you got into crypto. Before we hop into Mike real quick, I have a question from Agent J. I don't think I have it starred here.
It's funny because it was actually my question. But
we pull that up. How much shit do people give you as a young founder in this space, and why don't you give a fuck?
He did say his booster was out, so he might end up rugging.
Am I good?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, you're good now. You're good now.
My bad. I don't get shit as a young founder at all. I think I get more respect as being someone younger, where it's like, oh, there is no youth in posting. Like, there's no one. I mean, there's like probably, I mean, like 3 or 4 people that are like my age. And then they give me props because they're like, you're doing really well, bro. Like, I have a little 5K bag and it looks like you're doing well. And it's like, yeah, I'm doing well. I've been put in positions to do well. So I have people backing me as well. So it's a good journey. But I don't get any shit, and I don't give a fuck. And that is very true. I don't care. I'm gonna keep doing me, and when I'm 33, we'll be 10 years into post chain. So I think we'll be out.
I think it's great. I think that the more interest that people take in bettering their lives, be it financially, be it physically, be it mentally, the younger you start, the better, right? The longer you're in something, the more you're going to learn, and the better you're going to get at it. You said you dove head first, and you just went to work, and that's what we like to hear. So I think that the respect that comes to you is because of the work that you've put in, and I'm sure that people see that. Because if you're just trying to create meme coins and had no idea what you were doing, I think people would notice that. So hard work definitely makes people respect you.
For sure. And I do a lot of teaching. Like, I have a campfire Telegram. It's called the Almighty Campfire Cabal. And I try to teach. Anybody that has any questions, I'm always an open book, especially with liquidity. I know it's a tough subject. I know it's hard because every Hexagon was told liquidity providing was bad. But it's not. It's actually the money printer that everyone is looking for.
We like money printers here on the show. It's something that we've always been behind. Nate's one of our resident money printing experts. So, all right, so let's hop right into it. So, a lot of people know the coin Mike. I've been in it for a while. Obviously, nothing that we talk about here is financial advice, just financial entertainment for the people. And so, anything that we talk about isn't necessarily a recommendation. But I've really enjoyed how the token works from the time that I've had it. And for those that might not know what it is, why don't you give a little backstory and just give an idea of how you came up with it and where we are, where it is now.
So it came about, like, I want to say 5 weeks ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. It was when ink was like $3, maybe like $2.50. And I was just in the chat with my buddies, and we're like, man, ink is slept on, because ink is the only token the SEC isn't after, right? Like, you're attacking Postchain, PostX, and Hex. And ink is this hidden token that no one, is going to pay attention to legal wise. So we all bought a whole bunch. We didn't buy the bottom 40 cents, like I wish. But because I honestly thought it was going to a quarter, that it was going to 25 cents. So I was kind of waiting off on my bags. So ended up FOMOing in at like $2. And then we were in a chat on late night, and I was just like, man, Monsters Inc., like ink, it just makes sense. Like, it's in the name. Mike Wazowski, make the ticker Mike because he's green. ink is green. It just all made sense. And then I was thinking of Ethereum tickers. Like Ethereum tickers are like Brad, you know, like Joey, like they just have random stuff. So I was like, well, Mike, like there's a lot of people named Mike. So it'd probably click with a whole bunch of people. And I've met a lot of people named Mike now. So we thought about it. Sonny Detect 420, he's a big mentor for me. So he helped me code everything, figure out the contracts for a tax token. And ended up doing it all night. I think I started like at 10 p.m. and then it wasn't like 4:30 a.m. on a Saturday that I launched. I clicked launched. I went straight to sleep. I was so exhausted. And then I woke up to huge green candles, like insane. Didn't think that it was going to go as hard as it was, but the Telegram just started jumping. And this was a time when, this was a month and some change ago, where there was no meme coins popping. There was like right now on Pulse Chain, you see all this stuff going on now. Prior, it wasn't. It really wasn't. And I was trying to change that narrative. All I saw was rugs. All we would do is get rugged. Like we'd try to buy into the new coin that maybe had a cool ticker, and then it would just be like gone. And so I was kind of getting tired of it. So just creating our own was pretty much the move. So it did really well. In 48 hours, it did a 675x, which was, at the time, it was Pulse Chain records. Like nothing had done that many X's in a 48-hour period before, with real liquidity and like real backing, and ultimately building a community afterwards, which was pretty cool. I'm pretty known in Sunny's Pub. So that's a Telegram room for Pulse Chain. It's pretty big. So I got a lot of following and backing from that group. So shout out to them. And yeah, since then we just updated the website, made it look better, took it a lot more serious. As you can tell from my Twitter account, like I've been straight Monsters Inc. Focused. And then I always planned on doing more tokens, but because the Monsters Inc. narrative took off so well, I planned on making more tokens and adding them onto each other. But yeah, so Mike just gained traction off rip, pumped really hard, right? Did its correction, and then it survived really, like it recovered. The recovery was really pretty. Got a whole bunch of YouTubers to talk about it. Telegram grew insane, like crazy fast. It went from being, I remember the start in like, I want to say in a week we gained 700 people. So that's pretty tough, man. It's a lot of people to get. And yeah, man, since then it's just been ink rewards delivered, and just been doing benevolent things for the community. Every Friday we have a Monsters Inc. watch party. So we start off with Monsters Inc., then we go to Monsters University, and then Monsters at Work. It's a TV show. So we just watch it every Friday, give out ink, give out mic, talk, give like kind of a little AMA at the end or in the beginning. In between episodes now, we just kind of shit and this bullshit, talk about anything really, just our lives, what's going on, Pulse Chain, SEC. Yeah, man. So that was Mike. So I don't know if you wanted me to dive into what I planned.
Yeah, well, before you dive into that, so
future.
a few people, so you mentioned that with Mike, you earn ink. Do you have to actually put that mic in a farm? How do people get paid out in their ink?
Am I lagging? I think I'm lagging.
A little bit.
All right.
A little bit.
All right. So yeah, there is no farm. It's a 2% buy, sell, and transfer tax. So anytime somebody buys in, right, there's 2% of what they buy in goes to buying ink out of a pool, and then it delivers it to the holders. So in doing that, you actually run the transactions on Pulse Chain up like insane. Because if I go in and buy 10 grand worth of mic right now in the ink pool is like roughly like 80, 90K right now. There's a bunch of other liquidity pools that are like 10, 15, 5K, like just different increments. So when you buy out of one pool, there's a price change in the ink mic pool. Now all the other pools, they have to change as well. So the arbitrage bots go and trade all the other pools, and they're incentivized because they make money. So they're powered by greed, basically. So they will trade it, even though it's a 2% buy and a 2% sell. So if you notice when you buy a token, you'll see a bot that buys before you and sells after you. So that's what they do. So if you go in to buy a token and there's so many pools that these bots buy ahead of you and behind you, they still pay a tax, and then you're paying the tax as well. So, and when the market moves, right? So if the price of ink goes up, then there's our bots that can come trade the ink pair with Mike, and then people get paid. So that technically no one actually has to buy these tokens, reward tokens, if they're paired correctly. And the number goes up and the rewards go out to holders. But yeah, there is no claim, there's no airdrop, or I guess it airdrops to your wallet, but you don't have to do anything for it. It's just delivered based on the blocks and the transactions.
I love that. It's so easy. All you have to do is believe in the coin and hold it, and you're going to gain rewards for that. You know, a lot of times it's hard. It's like, what wallet did I stake that in? Like, where do I have to go get my rewards? Like, you know, just having to hold it there and not do anything makes your life so much easier.
So my question then is, so where did this idea come from for you? And has any other coin actually done that?
So so that's the Atropa, right? This Atropa Sunny reward token like story. So getting in Atropa in August, and kind of trying to follow that, like Liquidity Web, how they built, and it was a big teaching lesson, man. Like it was hard to follow. I had to really learn how to read the blockchain. So I did that, and finding Sunny in the pub was my kind of ticket to understanding that. So he would sit in his pub all day, all night, and he would talk about the Atropa dev and like what they're doing, but he wouldn't give any sauce for free. Like it was tough. It was tough to get the answers out of him. Sorry. Am I lagging out?
I think you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, you're lagging a bit.
On my screen. Yeah. I might have to go downstairs.
I have to pop off for a second. So it is very interesting though, because the idea here then is basically that as you know you're trading back and forth, it's the fees that ultimately are just kind of given to you just because you're holding the token itself, and it just drops into your wallet. That's really neat because every single other token is always like you have to go click a claim button and then you have to pay a gas fee to claim it and all that, whereas this one you really don't. And I don't know what is the APR. I'm gonna have to, as soon as he gets back on, I'll have to ask him that question. But how much do you usually get?
Well, it depends. I mean, it's 2% out, probably depending on how much you have, right?
Okay.
But then one thing I wanted to touch on before we kind of even hop into this next topic, once it gets reset back up, is the other nice thing about, first of all, this being built on Pulse Chain and Pulse X, and two, that you're buying ink and distributing it, is that helps the price of ink, and it helps the price of Pulse X because of the buy and burn mechanism. I always lean towards projects that are built on Pulse X because I want my Pulse X buy and burn to happen on every fucking transaction. And I really appreciate when tokens are built on Pulse Chain and Pulse X. And I'm not taking anything away. I think 9mm and Pidius and 9-inch. Look, those are great protocols, right? But I like things that are built on Pulse X because I want that buy and burn. I have a lot of Pulse X. So I want that number to go up. So I appreciate that.
So there's I was going to say, go ahead.
I was just going to say Pulse X is where all the transactions are. So if you want the volume and you want, that's where you're at.
Yep. One of the beautiful things also about this ecosystem, and let me know if I'm cutting out, my internet's not terribly great here, but is that there's like, even if your stuff isn't necessarily on Pulse X, there's going to be ARB bots that if you go and buy something on another DEX, then they're going to arb it back and forth between the DEXs until the DEXs are basically at parity, to the point where the gas fees would make it like not incentivized to be arbitraged. So like, even if you launch a coin on any of the other exchanges, or you buy something on any of the other exchanges, whenever there's a price deviation past a certain level, then arbitrage bots will trade between the two DEXs until it all evens out on everything. So even if you go and buy stuff on like on 9 mil or on Fux or whatever, then like when that price goes up, then the arbitrage bots, they buy the stuff on PulseX. So like even when you go and you buy things on other dexes, they're still making the PulseX do the buy and burn. That's one of the fantastic things about the PulseX buy and burn and why it's so fucking powerful. But yeah, it was just a quick little side note there. So for the folks at home who didn't know that, go ahead.
For sure, bro. I think we were talking about the Atropa kind of, and then my internet went out. So anyways, I was diving into Atropa ecosystem, found Sunny. Sunny would sit in his chat all day, and I just would try to learn. He ended up cussing me out in the beginning, and because I know I just came in there sounding like I wanted the alpha, and it was greedy, right? Everyone was in there just kind of being greedy. Because we were like, man, we're seeing these tokens just pop off randomly. We were like, man, I want to catch a token like that. And he wasn't there to give it to you. He was there to riddle everybody into understanding that liquidity pools were the money printer. Like he told everybody to chase the money printer, and it was just LPing. And so it was just like getting into these Atropa tokens and then LPing them, and then kind of waiting until now, right? Like if you had done that early and just LP'd them all and then just kind of unpulled the LPs now, you'd be doing amazing. So I did that somewhat, bought Atropa. Yeah, kind of, it was still super confusing, didn't understand it. But then Sunny created his reward token ecosystem. So that's where I got my idea from, and my contract. So the Atropa dev actually told him that it would be, they don't like taxes in their tokens, but they said that it would be beneficial if someone created a reward token tax ecosystem on Pulse Chain, because you would make the transactions on the chain go crazy, go like really crazy. So he created Ethereum reward tokens. So reward tokens on Pulse Chain that are the bridged in Ethereum tokens. And they're little pools. So you're creating a token that's pulling off of little pools of Ethereum tokens. So it's actually raising the price of them and incentivizing people to bridge in their Ethereum tokens to dump them into the pool. Because the, if Chainlink's $100 on Pulse Chain, you're gonna bridge in your Chainlink from Ethereum and sell it. And what you're doing is you're dumping the price and the chart down, but you're adding tokens into the liquidity pools that were never there prior. So the liquidity providers, if they had one Chainlink in there, but you came and dumped 100 Chainlink in there, now they have 101 Chainlink that they weren't gonna have previously. So he created something that would incentivize what Richard Hart wanted the entire time, was to take the load from Ethereum and bring it on a Pulse Chain. That's why Richard's pissed about eHex, because you guys didn't bring the load over. Like he literally made the chain for it. So that's why we got that. That's why we got that dump. So he did the reward token ecosystem, and so for the Ethereum, and then he did the PRC20. And I followed along the entire time, got like 1 to 3% of everything. And he saw that I wasn't a Jeet, basically. So he decided to help me out when I wanted to create my own tokens. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Can we bring that last comment up by Jay again? It's so true. I mean, honestly, we're really trying to let people know that these are important things, providing liquidity. Look, when we look at meme coins, one of the things that we also look at and focus on is, hey, what's the liquidity look like in these coins? Is this like a heavy liquidity here? And that's something that's really important to look at. So good point, Jay.
Yeah, and to add on to that as well. So like when we're talking about winners, basically right now what people there's like surface level and there's deeper level, right? The deeper level that we're looking at right now is liquidity providing and farming, but like the surface level is actually just as important, which is like the meme tokens, and I've kind of gotten in trouble for mentioning this, but we want meme tokens to come over to Pulse Chain, right? We absolutely want it, because hey, where do these people gamble these memes, right? In a casino, in the casino that's called PulseX, and that just, it will cause the buy and burn to go crazy. And I literally had some OG hexicans like arguing with me, do you really want to turn this into the next Binance or Solana? I'm like,
yes.
do we want, have you seen what Solana's been doing? Yeah, maybe it might be good for Pulse Chain, but yeah, it's an absolute, like, this is the type of thing that people really need to understand, is that it's a lot of fun to sit there and try and like million X your stuff on memes. But if you're just sitting in the farm, sitting on PulseX, right, sitting in the liquidity, the pools, you are definitely winning from these people just cheating the shit out of these coins.
For sure. And then to touch base on that, like if Pulsechain gets to what Solana is like, there's a token called Fuck Off. It got $100 million in volume. $100 million in volume. Now tell me, if there was a 2% tax on that and it was a reward token, bro, I was just like, what? So with Mike, I think the peak was the third day in, we got $1 million of volume. And that was pretty tough. Like at that time, tokens were not doing that at all, like not even close. So dwindling down, we probably get like 10 to 20K now a day. Which is still fair because you go look at some of even the popular tokens now and they get like 2-3K volume because we're just a slow chain right now. We're early. So if you look at Solana and you think about if a reward tokens can go do those type of volume numbers, I mean, the taxes go crazy.
The fact is
also,
that
I was just going to say real quick, Nate, not only that, but we're a slow chain, so it might be a good time to buy some blood. You know, if you wait too long, you're probably just going to miss out. Not financial advice, but this chain is going to pop at some point. It's an L1. It's a fork of Ethereum. It's going to take pressure off the load on the Ethereum blockchain, and it's built really well, and it has a very strong community behind it. So if you're not familiar with Pulse Chain, I mean, it's time to get familiar. If you're not invested in Pulse Chain, well, you might need to dig deep and see if it's a coin that you want to buy into, because there's a full ecosystem behind it. And this is what we're getting into, you know, finding more of these people to create meme coins, and not just a one-off meme coin, but create something that's going to last, create value to the community. And when you build value, people buy in.
Yeah, 100%. Here's the thing that people do not understand about Pulse Chain, right? And I get it, right? Because it makes sense that people are not going to be like looking into the future and knowing what's going on, right? Okay, sure. But Pulse Chain is very forward looking, right? What other chain has all these webs of different tokens basically buying each other up? And because you do know that the PulseX buy and burn is a literal permanent buyer, right? It's a permanent buyer. And so now you start getting a bunch of these other web of tokens that are just doing all the same thing with each other. And it's just an infinite like rising, right? And I mean, there's a lot of different things that Pulse Chain is doing. A lot of people who are working on things. I mean, the Tang Gang just recently came out with it was like a call or like a talk radio type of thing where you could communicate between each other via NFTs. And it's like what is that, right? And so when you get these people who are like, oh, Pulse Chain is just another L1, who cares, you know? Or you know, an L1 that's an old narrative, right? Well, here's the thing, though. This is a very forward-looking L1. There's builders on it, and the picture that I've been trying to create for everybody is that, hey, this is a brand new city. You got the giant city of Ethereum over there, right? And there's a lot of things that have been built up, right? A lot of big buildings, but there's more advanced buildings, more advanced technology that's happening over here, and we're still building the larger buildings as well. So this is brand new. Hence why, like, I get into PulseX, get into Pulse, because it is extremely important. And especially with like Ink Token, with Ink Token doing what it's doing, right? And then on top of it, then you get somebody like Almighty over here, right? Who then creates Mike to then help Ink Token, which then helps PulseX, which then helps Pulse. It's a literal infinite just rise for the entire ecosystem. So the Pulse Chain is something else, like, quite frankly. it's something else, and I would put my chips into it. Okay,
For sure. I mean, we had Solana pop off, then we realized, oh, that chain's actually shit, and then we go to Base, or you know, people are on Base, but they're gonna realize that's also garbage. And then what's the other chain that they go to? There is really no other chain that's like that style of, or that tier of meme coin popping.
Ethereum's too expensive, right now for meme coins to throw scratchers into things. It just doesn't exist. You need a chain
There
like
is
this
no
where you can have
second best.
Yeah, there's no second best. But also, you know, with Pulse Chain, right, we're gonna be able to build faster because it's a fork of Ethereum, right? It's so much easier to build in this chain.
Oh yeah, man. And touching base on, I had to mute because my family was a little loud. But touching base back on Sunny's ecosystem, So he built these tokens that are all combined. You know, there's a lot of them and they're connected. So when the market moves, they all move. And when they all move, the transactions get the flooding insane. There's been spikes in gas pretty significantly in the past couple months. And I can tell you that they were single-handedly from a couple of his launches, because they flood so many transactions on chain, which is good. You want liquidity on post chain, which is why we have the incentive token and why we're incentivizing people to farm. And then you want transactions on post chain and volume. We're low on volume, but we're doing pretty well on transactions because we have reward tokens. Basically, I think that's a big part of it. Because you look at Solana, you look at Base, ETH, like they don't have reward tokens that are webbed together. So when one moves, they all move, and then they all flutter. Like that's just not. It's never been seen before, which is kind of baffling to me. We've been in DeFi for a while now, and to just now see that, and then to be our chain is kind of like that innovative chain to start doing that. And then we have Atropa. Like Atropa is a whole another like deep dive, like the dev behind that and the connections that he has and the money that he has on wallets that I've noticed is insane. Just know that there's multiple billionaires on our chain, not just Richard, that want the chain to go up and want the number to go up. And that's bullish. Like, and they're not VCs, right? Like they're not going to get their tokens unlocked and they're not just pumping the price now like Solana so that they could dump it when we get up to $1,000. And yeah, we just have people that want to see freedom on the chain instead of just money.
Yeah.
A lot of people have money, man.
Yeah, and here's the thing about that, Almighty. So what you mentioned there, I think, is vitally important, right? So we got multiple billionaires on the chain. It's like, how come they haven't really pumped? And this is the question people are going to have, of course. How come they haven't pumped Pulse Chain yet? You know, how come they haven't pumped things? Well, it's like that's an old way of looking at how these things work, right? If all you do is you get into a meme coin and then you wait for it to pump, right? Or get into the L1 token and wait for it to pump. Then that's kind of what used to happen like 2 cycles ago, right? As of right now, what you've got is you got a bunch of billionaires, okay, who are extremely smart, have teams of extremely smart people who are building out new technologies to set kind of like a floor, so to say, right? So you have the foundation of what Richard Hart originally did, and now you're getting this floor of all the utilities and like all the things within the city, right? You can't run a city if you don't have sewers and you don't have electrical grids and things like that. Right now, that's what's happening with these billionaires. They're doing that. There is no pumping going on. There's no high-rise buildings being built because we need to get those things in place first, and that's what they're doing right now.
For sure. And there's a lot of money on the side waiting on the SEC clarification, which looks like we don't get until August now. So I'm kind of interested to see.
Really October. Honestly, really October. Hate to say that, but really October.
Yeah. But I think we deserve a rally here soon, like maybe Saturday soon.
Yeah, but here's the thing, you know. Okay, I'll hold that thought. You know, the thing about this, a lot of people don't understand the court case, and we've covered it a couple times. But right now, so the first thing is tomorrow we'll find out if they put a stay on initial discovery, and initial discovery is essentially the SEC being able to go try to dig up more facts about why they're suing Richard Hart and why, you know, this is going to go to court or whatnot. So it'd be nice if the judge puts a stay on discovery. I think that they will. I think the judge will and should. But then the SEC has until July 8th to respond to Richard Hart's, you know, this first letter that they just put into the judge, and then Richard Hart's lawyers have another 6 weeks to respond to that, and then oral arguments are in October. So early October, you'll get oral arguments in front of the judge, and then who knows how long it'll take for them to dismiss the case if that happens. But it seems very. I mean, I've read through all the legal documents that have been put through the last few days, and holy moly, my eyes roll in the back of my head. But holy shit, Richard Hart lawyers, man, they swung for the fences, and it looks really good.
Dude, they said that Richard. I read a little bit of it, right? Richard Hart time traveled.
Yeah.
I was like, no way they said that in the paper. Like, you're saying Mr. Hart time traveled. I was like, oh my God, there he is.
We covered this when the case first went to court, and if you read the actual filing by the SEC, they had typos. They didn't understand what the cryptocurrencies were. They didn't understand how they work. Like, the whole thing was written so poorly It's like, this is really what they expect to put out to a judge to indict somebody. Wow. They're really, they're fucking ballsy. And because they keep losing and losing, the judges are gonna not give them the benefit of the doubt. In fact, we already started to see that in cases. And I know we didn't plan to talk about the case tonight, but it's good for the ecosystem. But even if we don't get a full dismissal by October, if things start to continue to look good, that's gonna look really beneficial for the ecosystem. I mean, look at Ripple, right? As good news kept coming out, that coin kept going up. That wasn't just like a pump at the end. If you watch from the low point after the SEC first sued Ripple, it was pretty much straight up, constant up from there, way before there was any decision by the judge in that case. So we don't need to wait till October to have good news for this chain to pump. And you mentioned something about Saturday. What's going on Saturday?
So Saturday, I plan, and this 99.99% we'll be launching the Pulse Reward token. So it'll be the second installment of the Monsters Inc. ecosystem. So you had Mike first, which is the incentive token rewards. Then you're gonna have Pulse. Then I plan on doing Pulse X, and then Yield Farm. So you're gonna have a yield token, and then which will be our own incentive token. It should work exactly like incentive token, where I'll pair them super thick to all the other tokens. So if people dump them, so when people dump ink into the pool, you're putting tokens that were never in the pool into the pool now. And because it's such a huge pool, you're not really affecting the price of ink. You're actually just making the ink pulse bond stronger. And just the ink is Richard's heart. Like, it's literally his Fed. Like, he can print money. And if you look at some of these whales, they're printing like 50K a month, like insane amount of money. And what are they going to do with it? They're in the ecosystem. They're just going to dump it in the ecosystem. And it's just more money and more money, more liquidity. Like I was saying earlier, we need liquidity on chain. If we can be the most liquid and the most transaction chain, we're going to look very well. So that's the ink. So it's going to be called Scream. That's going to be our incentive token. So Scream, like in the movie, they fill up the canisters with screams, with children's screams. And there's a little weird conspiracy theories behind that. It's an odd movie. But it's odd. But so you're going to have the Pulse or incentive token, Pulse X, Scream, Yield Farm. And then you're going to have a PDI, because I made it to where it's Richard Hart's ecosystem reward tokens. So I believe PDI is his stablecoin that he always talked about launching. And I think that if he tried to launch a real stablecoin under his name, he would get screwed. So I think this was his way to kind of finesse into the system as a Trojan horse. He said that Pulse Chain was here for gas. I think it was really here to free us and give us $1. And then the last one will be Hex. So the last one's Hex because I think Hex rallies last. I think that Pulse Chain and Pulse X bubble really hard. Everything does well. It raises with Hart's Law. But then ultimately, when people make those Pulse gains, and they're all Hex OGs, most of them, they're going to wash into Hex and then stake it. And it just makes sense. So I think it'll be the last thing to run the bull. And it'll be like euphoric Richard Hart pumps Hex or repump Hex, whatever happens. I think Hex goes really crazy in the very end. And yeah, so that we'll have a 5-token ecosystem, the little Thanos glove. And yeah, they'll all be bonded together in liquidity. So one moves, they all move, and they're all reward tokens. So they all flutter when they all move. They'll be paired to the tokens that they reward with pretty thick. And that's kind of the sauce with reward tokens, is if you compare them to the token they are rewarded or rewarding, you're doing good. Because when it moves, you flutter, your token flutters, and it gives the transactions of the tokens that's moving. So if Ink pumps, Mike pumps, and then it starts to deliver rewards. So cool system, feedback system.
So how's the launch going to work on Saturday? You said, what was the name of that coin again?
The ticker isn't announced yet, but it'll be Sully. Like Sully's is Mike's best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's because Sully's blue and purple, so Pulse is blue and pink and purple, so it just made sense. It was kind of like a no-brainer. And then Mike's green. So it should be, I want to say like 5 p.m. Eastern to 8 p.m. Eastern. I was trying to adapt to the UK schedule because I have a lot of people, on that side of the world that are fans, or they own Mike, and they're like, dude, if you launch at a weird time, Eastern time, it'll be like 4 in the morning over here. I'm like, okay, so I have to adjust to people's schedules, and yeah, messes with my sleep a lot, but it's worth it in the end.
And for people that are going to be watching for that launch, where are you going to post the address? Where is the place that they'll be able to find that address first?
The Monsters Inc. Telegram. I will probably turn off text and just have GIFs, because I know that people like to be scammers and drop fake contract addresses and everything like that. So I'll drop the contract address as well as the main pair, so you know how to get in as soon as I press launch, and I'll pin it in the Telegram, and I'll tweet it and blah, blah, blah. But the Telegram will be the first place to be known about, and then I'll tweet it.
Yeah, make sure that you put the warning in there too. Only this account, like only the one that is me, right? It will show you the correct address. Yeah. I've seen it several times with these launches where, you know, as you say, the scammers. So I've noticed that the people who do good launches, they'll do that before they actually send the address out.
Yeah, I had somebody copy my PFP, my name, everything, and it's sad, bro. It's like, wow, you guys are bad. So be hesitant and make sure you verify. Always verify, don't trust. So you'll see my account tweet. You'll see my account be in the Telegram, and I'll probably be on on the voice chat too. I'll probably open up the voice chat, so it's a little more clarity for people. And yeah, so hopefully we have a lot of people in there and get to screaming.
Yeah, once our producer gets back, we will throw that Telegram link into the chat so that the people from the DGen Roundtable, or the people that haven't been part of your Telegram previously, can join it and be the first to see when that launches, because I'm excited. I think that, you know, it's not just, you know, Mike did great, but, you know, now that you have an idea to build out, you know, kind of like a little mini ecosystem. Now, obviously, like you said, this was going to be maybe a one-off, but it went so well that you're like, okay, hey, let's build this out. Let's make this more than just a meme coin. Let's make this an ecosystem. What would you say sets your ecosystem and your plan apart from other people that are trying to do these type of things? You know, there's other, obviously, you know, there's like people with the Alice token and Buns and Tang Gang, you know, launching multiple projects. What makes you guys unique? What makes what you're trying to do different?
I mean, I didn't plan on making. I planned on making multiple tokens. I didn't plan on making multiple Monsters Inc. tokens. So I always knew I wanted to do like the Richard Hart ecosystem reward token bubble, but I didn't think, like I said, they were all going to be in the same movie. I thought about doing like different Pixar characters and stuff, but I think that the Monsters Inc. narrative is just pretty cool. Like we're monsters on chain, like rawr. But what sets us apart differently is that you have a docs founder. That's one of the biggest things. It's like, it's hard to trust anybody. We've got burn liquidity. Again, it's hard to trust. You can go on chain and look. I mean, really, people who launch meme coins and then they launch another meme coin 4 days later, and then they launch another meme coin a week later, and then they'll launch another one. How are you gonna think that that person cares about the original meme coin? They're not. They're not going to keep showing it the same attention as the fourth one. So in this ecosystem, all the tokens have a bond together, right? Not only do they have a liquidity bond, or they will have a liquidity bond, you have a character bond. So they're all part of the same narrative. They all make sense. So they're the Richard Hart token narrative bond, where they all like, oh, you have Pulse Inc., Pulse X. So you know that you have the whole table out there for you. And then you have the character bond. So you know you have all the characters out there, and you know. Yeah, I think that just sets us apart. And then being reward tokens, like if you notice, I think everyone likes reward tokens now. And before it was scam. It was, you know, reward tokens are just a scam. It's a Ponzi. But it's not a Ponzi if you can pair them correctly. Like if you've got a bunch of pairs, it's not a Ponzi. You're literally focused on math. So I guess the short answer to that is math. The difference between my project and other things is math, narrative, and trust.
I love it. And that's why you're here. That's why you're here to talk to the community, the Pulse Chain community, and the people that, you know, that are interested in your projects, because, hey, you're here, you're talking to people, you're being open and honest, and really trying to build something that's going to help the ecosystem. Like Nate said, if it's a meme coin, that's great. If it's something that provides liquidity, that's great. Buy and burn off PulseX, that's great. I think there's a lot of good features of what you're building, and so I like that more is getting built out to that. And obviously, let's get the community behind it so that we can continue to get these things to pump. But I'm excited. I will definitely be buying into Sully. And, everyone has to do their own research and decide if they think that that's a scratch or bet or, an investment that they want to put into. But I'm excited for Saturday.
Oh, for sure. So Mike was kind of like a surprise launch. It was just kind of like, off the whim. This one is a lot different. This one's a lot more hyped up. I've been on 5 YouTube channels since. I've been in multiple AMAs. I've got Whales Attraction. Got a lot of DMs from some bigger players where they're just like, I see what you did and I missed it. I actually launched when a lot of the bigger players were in Vegas. So it was kind of funny. They missed it. So they're gonna FOMO.
Man of the people.
So I think they're gonna FOMO into this one, because this is also your gateway into getting into Mike. So like if you missed Mike, but you want to invest in the next installment, there's going to be a liquidity pool with Mike. And so you'll be able to wash into that. Say you make a 10X and, you can wash it over and get into so if you like ink better and you want ink rewards, then go ahead and get in that one. And you get different rewards.
Yeah. The LP is important too. You need enough liquidity so people aren't, taking major slippage when they're trying to switch between coins, keep their coins within your ecosystem, within Richard Hart's ecosystem. I mean, it's just super important.
Oh yeah, man. And then I pair a lot of my tokens to Sunny's ecosystem tokens, because kind of just paying homage, kind of feeding that some volume, because I do own a lot of those tokens. So it's easy to pair. And that's another thing. So I pair a lot of my own money into these tokens. So I put in my effort. I put in financial effort, a lot of energy. Yeah, dude, I want to support this thing. I see longevity in being a founder on Pulse Chain, young, early chain. Because like I said, in 5 years, where does this chain lie? Are we going to be like ETH? Well, if we are, I think right now would be an amazing opportunity to be just in the ecosystem as a good face card. I think these things live multiple cycles.
Yeah, and you talked about Atropa. Do you want to touch more on what you like about Atropa? And you said sort of having the tax is one of the things that you changed. Are there any other different? And then my second question: any other differences between how you see your coins working versus Atropa's?
Oh man, I can't really compare to Atropa, honestly. They're God mode kind of what they're doing. I mean, what they're doing is just creating poof money, right? Like they bought up DAI really early. They paired Atropa to it, which is just an imaginary token.
Super smart.
But yeah. So yeah, they bought up a lot of DAI, and all the stables. So they paired Atropa to it, burned it. But they still had a minting function on it, and the contract wasn't announced. So a lot of people kind of were iffy about it, and I think that was the point. But they have a 3 token structure. And I didn't actually learn this until recently. I knew that the liquidities were there, but I didn't understand why. So they have Atropa, Down, and Legal, and those were like the 3 main tokens in the beginning. And they're paired with each other in such a way that the developer can't actually extract the money. They would lose if they try to extract money. Like if they were to dump all these tokens and try to get their money out or try to go buy the DAI back out of the pool, they wouldn't. They would lose super bad. And then if they got out of their position, it would be a community token now. So they want to see other people do exactly how they did the token structure, which I kind of started too early to do it exactly the same way, but I also don't want to do it the way that they did it. They kind of, it's not built for how they did it. It's not built for reward tokens, but it's still a cool structure. And then basically what they did after that was just create webs of tokens on top of those tokens. And in doing that, you're just creating more poof money. And the more poof money that you make, the further out into the web you go, it all has to come back into the center pair of the Atropa PDI. So you got Richard playing with the maker volts, using the wrapped Ethereum Pulse 1-to-1 concept of backing the maker volts with Ethereum. And then you have the Atropa dev that's paired to DAI so heavy and created fake money heading onto it that if anytime they wanted to wash all the shit coins back into the main pair, they could. So I think that that's almost a goal in the future. Like if they have $1 million in this token and then they can swap it into this token where they have 10 million and they can swap it in this one where they got 10 million and and they keep bringing all that money back and then they can pump PDI through Atropa. I think those two characters or those two entities working together is super benevolent, basically to free us. And you don't see that in any other chain. What you don't see in Solana, two entities, or I mean multiple, but specifically two entities working in different sectors of the chain to bring a dollar to a stable dollar point. You don't see that. There's not like Solana is not doing that. Dace isn't doing that. It's just different. It's different here, and to know that it's on our chain, like we're doing it on our chain. Not anybody else's. It's cool. I like the Atropa developer specifically because they're on Pulse chain. If they were doing it on Solana, I mean, they couldn't. There's not the same narrative. I mean, you're not going to bring the DAI stablecoin to it. Yeah. That's kind of. I like the way that they're trying to set us free. Basically.
Yeah, the developers on Pulse chain. That's kind of Hexicans and Pulsicans in general is the whole freedom deal, right? That's what everybody wants. They want freedom. And the thing that I've noticed about Pulse chain, this is why I love Pulse chain so much, is the developers are always, again, forward thinking, and they're always like trying to figure out, like, hey, how can I actually improve our lives, right? Us, all of us. Whereas like when you're over in Solana, the majority of people over there are either VCs or just shit traders. That's literally all that they're doing. Nobody cares to try and improve anything except for maybe the base developers of Solana itself. Nobody's building anything over there, except for, more shit coins.
Yeah.
Ultra bullish.
They're major casino vibes, and a lot of rugs. So it's just like, I know we get there one day like that, but it's so toxic. It's gross to look at. Like I'll go on Photon, like the little sniper for Solana, and I'll just look at all the coins that launched, and I'm just like, what is going on? Like it's just insane. So I like that. And then the Atropa developer, like, not to get too deep into it, they're creating a decentralized email service, I believe, because Richard talks about like how everyone reads emails now. Like the Fed just reads your emails, and it used to be illegal. And I was like, he always says that, like it's a big thing that Richard always talks about is how we don't have real email service that's decentralized. So I think what the Atropa developer is making is an email service so that we can decentralized conversations, kind of like an IRC chat log, which is how they speak now. So I think that they're kind of recreate that. And then they're also creating a video game, and then the DAI is just, it's along for the ride. I don't think it's really the main goal at all. I think that they just know that the stables have to get to $1 for Pulse chain to be a decentralized network. Because until you get $1 that we can swap into, that's not reliant on anything else outside of chain, we're not actually free. And then once we get that PDI to $1, Richard can step in and do magic. I know everyone is like, oh, you're expecting profit from somebody, or you're thinking that Richard's going to pair his DAI with, but honestly, man, it would make so much sense. He would gain so much from doing that. It would be one of the biggest, I think, advertising for Pulse chain, where it's like, oh, this fake stable coin went to $1 pegged, and now all these Pulsicans, these cult people or whatever they want to call this, we're winning, we're eating crazy. I think people are starting to see that, man. I think that we're drawing a lot of eyes on Pulse chain recently. So yeah,
I just recently released a tweet that literally talks about that, where we should be shouting PDI to the heavens, even though some people don't believe in it, right? They don't really agree with the whole narrative and all that. It doesn't matter, because there's a lot of attention that can be drawn, a lot of eyes that can be drawn to Pulse chain because of that. And, I had some conversations with some of these people who they just didn't believe in it, and they kind of thought that I was shilling PDI. But when they actually read what it was that I tweeted, and then I talked to them, they realized I wasn't shilling. What I was shilling was the attention of what we should be trying to draw people in, So then they even reposted it or retweeted.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even about. It's not even. You shouldn't get 100K of PDI, and then immediately you're gonna be like, all right, PDI go to $1, because if it does, I'll have 100 grand. Like, it's about that bias of, do you own any? Well, just own a little bit, and I think everyone really owns a little bit, because no one wants to get caught lacking on a token that went to $1. Like, literally, that's like the whole crypto narrative is, if it goes to $1, I'll have this much. Like Shiba Inu, like everyone said that. Like, if it just goes to $1, I'll have $1 trillion. So with this, it's literally, if it goes to $1, I'll have this much, and it makes sense. It's like Sami says, it's literally like the best narrative in crypto right now. It's like, oh, PDI to $1, and it's not even that far away. It's 100 plus X. Like, it's not. I mean, I know that sounds cool, but in reality, there's gonna be things that pop off on our chain that do way more than 100X in way less time. So like, there's other investments, but I think that this is a really good thick liquidity investment for somebody to get into. And then when PDI goes to that point, the Atropa liquidity with PDI, it'd be billions with a B. You don't see that in any DeFi. Like, what? It's crazy. I mean, and where do you think if we get to $1 and it pegs, where does all that dollar money go to? They're not going to hold the dollar now. They want to go gamble because it went to $1 and it pegged. And then now they're going to flush into the Atropa ecosystem and that entire thing. And then also the 414 dev is the Atropa dev. They own a whole lot of stables, like a bunch. So if we do get to that point, they're going to pump their ecosystem. Like, why wouldn't they? That's the whole point. And they're trying to bring real life assets or real life structures into the blockchain. They're an artist. They see the tokens and the LPs as kind of art. Definitely a lot different than how we think. They're kind of a weird smart. Like, he's definitely weird, bro. You can look at the video and tell, like, he's a little quirky, but that's how. Look at Vitalik. So Vitalik is Ethereum. We have James Osborne. Like, I think that's pretty bullish. And then he's being gatekept. Like, you don't see Sami talk about the face reveal. He doesn't show the person. Like, why? Like, people don't realize that person wrote a serial, the most advanced serial number system for Bill Gates' nuclear power plant, TerraPower. And he made the #1 meme coin on Pulse Chain right now, Teddy Bear. So the #1 meme coin on Pulse Chain right now, the developer behind it created nuclear serial number software code for Bill Gates. I'm like, what? Why is that not being spoken about and like screamed? Because it's real. It's here, but it's being gatekept.
Yeah, the thing is, we want our community to grow, and we want to build people up, not tear people down. When there's a lot of red happening, there's always infighting. We've seen it a lot on Twitter, in the Pulse Chain community, in the Hex community recently. But green candles fix all. Once we start getting some green candles, everyone moves up together. I feel like even like people's excitement, like that's also Hart's law. Green candles will lead for everybody to be brought up as well. So before we continue, I just want to get out with a few new comments in the chat, a couple super chats. So if we can bring up Crypto Chameleon, big fan of you, Mr. Almighty.
I told him pretty close to the top to sell his HOA, and then HOA attacked me for telling him to sell his coins, and it was I think it was close to like an Atropa bottom, and Atropa just took off since then, and then HOA took a shit.
X's into X's. That's the whole point, right? That's what we're trying to do.
Yes, sir.
Fast Abdul in the house. Let's talk bribes. Fast Abdul got some. He's got some stuff coming out soon too. So if you guys aren't following him, definitely keep an eye out on Fast Abdul, because he's got some good projects coming, and he is really a staunch Pulse Chain supporter and builder. So I got a few more comments in here. Let's see, we'll just run through these real quick. Moonpilled, what is up, buddy? Thanks for joining us. Dre actually, he's in our chat a lot. He saves people constantly. In fact, this guy's been dealing for 3 days, couldn't get a transaction to work because they kept getting stuck. And it took us a while, but Dre got him straightened out today. So thank you for that, Dre.
It's tough.
Brother 64, another builder, another man making some great things. What he has coming out in the near future is going to blow people's minds, and I'm really excited for it.
Nice.
Paul Sachs, man, is deep in the ecosystem. Always good to see you, brother.
Yeah.
Hexes, Pulse, Sess,
Hexes.
Mike and Sully Sess. Success for everybody. Tin Top, great to see you as always. Crypto Chameleon, welcome.
Cho boy. Oh, 9. I'm 23, man. Don't make fun of me.
14 years off. But no, honestly, like, look, if we had somebody that was 9 years old that was smart enough to understand this stuff and build, look, I'd support them. I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you understand what you're doing and you put in the work and you work hard and you want to help build the community, then I see nothing wrong with that. In fact, I really commend that. So,
what's up, Boogie?
Crypto Boogie
On his show tomorrow.
Nice. Yeah, Boogie's a great friend of the channels. We've been on a few of us have been on his channel a few times, and we did a mega TA stream. So one of our members, Jay, he's sort of our TA expert. So him, I think it was Boogie, Axis, and who was the other one on our major TA stream? Was that the three of them? I think
it was Josh, if I remember correctly.
Was Zenith? Maybe Josh.
Yeah. But yeah, so we had a huge TA stream with Boogie and Axis and those guys. So yeah, love it. So
Boogie gives the strongest daps. You ever dap him up, man? He just like brings it like it's like, oh god, man, jeez.
Fortunately, I haven't met a lot of these people in person, but hopefully in the next year, 18 months, as we're heading to the moon, we'll get a lot of these meetups going. DGen Roundtable will have a meetup next year, so that'll be something to look forward to for a lot of people in the community. Nothing even being set in motion plan wise yet, but it's definitely in the back of our minds. So once we start rolling, working on some other things right now, but that'll be something exciting for next year. Niles, welcome. Niles had a fucking big win this week, just absolutely stomping a play that actually came up in our chat about a week ago, and a few people hopped into that and made a fuck ton of money. So congratulations to everybody that hopped into that play and made some money. So
yeah, dude, you guys got to get into our Telegram, because freaking Dre's in there helping people out, right? There's several. We've had several people come in there and start shilling, right? We just clown on them, and then we kick them out, right? We ban them, and then we watch their coin, and it's like, what, 10 minutes in, bam, rugged. We saved everybody in our chat from getting rugged. We're saving people from getting from their 3-day stuck transactions. That was wild, by the way. And I mean, yeah, then we also have these plays where, like, yeah, Icarus, we made a ton on Icarus, and people really did well there. I got in at 12 cents, bro. I think if I remember correctly, I think I was the one who posted it. But yeah, it was a very good play for everybody there.
So
yeah, so I mean, we got that right, that little thingy there that you can scan, the little white thing with black. You can go ahead and scan that there, and yeah, you hop right in.
It's free. The Telegram's free. It doesn't cost you anything, at least for now. It won't always be free. And just for those of you who are watching, please, if you haven't already, like, subscribe. We are 11 people away from hitting 1,000. So if we could get 11 people on stream tonight to subscribe to our YouTube channel, that would be phenomenal. That'd be a really cool number to hit on stream. So
I got 7 people. I tweeted at 82. So I got 7 people.
I appreciate it. Every time that we have people on here, and look, we want the Pulse community, and look, we don't just invest in Pulse, but we're so deep in this ecosystem. We really believe in it. And so, we want people that are doing work in the ecosystem. We want to bring them on here and to give them some recognition. And look, not everything that you build is gonna work the way that you want it. Some rugs are out there, and not every coin that rugs was meant to be a rug, right? It happens sometimes. People snipe coins, then they sell them, and then they don't care about the LP, and they rug that LP, and the coin goes to zero, right? So not everything is planned to go that way, and we're not going to be right on everything. but the better that we can do to work together to help everybody is important. So
For sure, man.
So do you have any timeline? So obviously you're 99.9% gonna release a coin Saturday. Do you have like a timeline of building the rest of your ecosystem out, building the rest of your coins out?
Yeah, I want to stretch it out in the bull, because you have a thing where, if you made like for HOA an example, like they made a meme coin early. Now time passed, it's kind of irrelevant now. But like the new meme coins now are popping, and now they have the new narrative, and they're gonna pop, and they're gonna go up, and then they're gonna die, and the next one's gonna come. So it's this new shiny object syndrome. So if I can recreate the new shiny object syndrome every couple months into the bull, like further and further into pulse chain bull, benevolent, like it would be cool to stay relevant, basically. And it's not like I'm just extracting or just creating something because the old one died or blah blah blah. It was already pre-planned to do something like this. And then every token injects more volume every single time I launch. So you're recreating a first launch, which is hard to do. You're not doing it. Like it's really tough to recreate that initial volume, things like that. So I mean, I think I waited like a month and a half after my maybe 2-ish months, kind of. So I think that's probably like a good space in between every token, where it's like you let a chart live for 30 to 60 days. Yeah, so I want to stay relevant in the bull market. So if I did 5 tokens, say 4 more every 2 months, you got 8 months of being relevant. And then after that, all the contracts get renounced. And that's another thing, the contracts aren't renounced. And that is for a reason. So when people go look at it, they're like, oh, it's not renounced. They're going to rug. So when I set LPs with tokens, I have to go into the contract, dead the LPs from receiving rewards. And then that squeezes everybody's rewards tighter. So where everybody gets more rewards. So if I wanted to create, if you took all your mic bag and you paired it up with PulseX or whatever, and I had the contract renounced, that contract address for the LP would receive rewards forever, and it would just kill it. But if I went in there and I deaded the LP from receiving rewards, then everyone else would eat more. So if you think about that, every single time I launch a token and I take mic and I pair it with the Pulse reward token and I dead that address, that means everyone that's holding mic is now getting way more rewards because the dev isn't receiving the rewards anymore. So every single time I do that with every single token, the rewards squeeze even tighter. And then to think about on Saturday, if the Pulse reward token goes up versus mic in the LP, there's actually going to be like a vacuum, to where that LP is going to suck up a whole bunch of mic out of all the other pools because the other token is doing better. So the mic there has to be more mic in that pool then. So the rewards for people when I launch on Saturday on mic are going to be actually a lot more significant than they would have been. And there'll be supply for people available because the dev will then pair the mic to the other token. So now that the rewards get better and there's more liquidity and supply available for people to get into. And that'll happen every single token. So it'll squeeze every single time, and they'll all be added in liquidity together. But yeah, just stretching that out into the bull to remain relevant and recreate a volume launch. And then when they're all done, renounce all the CAs, dead all the LPs from receiving rewards, and then the token can be complete wrap, and you can have trust in it all.
Yeah, and let's not forget that not just squeezing your tokens up, right? But Ink and PulseX, buy and burn mechanisms in both cases. So every time somebody is going to buy Sully, that benefits Mike. And every time somebody buys in the ecosystem, Mike turns out Ink, right? And then you get the buy and burn of the PulseX. So I love that it's tied so intimately with the Pulse Chain ecosystem. And it's not just your coins that are going to benefit, but Pulse Chain coins are going to benefit as well. I mean, that's good for the community. You just can't deny that.
Yeah, you see it a lot where like somebody creates a token, it does well, and then they pair it to another token, and then that's it. That's the only way to get in. That's kind of garbage in my eyes because that's farming. You just created another shitcoin and paired it to the one that did well, because it's, you know, if you got 100K bag of your shitcoin that did well, and then you just have a token that has no value and you plug it in and now it has value. And then to get into that token, you have to have the original ones. I think that's somewhat farming. So if you release a token and it actually has the pairs that you need to get into it, but that is also paired to your original token. So with Hart's Law, you're going to see Mike go up. You're going to see Mike go up on Saturday, I believe. And then there's the scenario where people dump their mic and try to get into the new one. And I think there's whales waiting on that. So, and there's also like, you know, bigger players in the ecosystem that can wash trade back into Mike. So if you want to capitulate on Mike, get into the new token, shiny token launch, and these whale wallets, you know, they catch those gains, they'll wash back into Mike. Because I think a lot of people are more like bullish on Ink than they are with Pulse. So I think this is just kind of a means to get into Mike. Yeah, and also Ink to $1,000. I just want to say that.
You know, it's funny. Even in our community, I was one of the first people to buy Ink. I bought it at $2. I know people bought it less than that, but I was one of the first people vocally that bought it. And I actually got a lot of shit in our community Telegram for buying Ink. And, you know, I understand there's some inflationary aspects to it and things to that extent. But my whole premise was I don't want to be left without one of Richard Hart's ecosystem's coins. I want a bag of all of them because, you know what? I don't want to take any chances. And that's why I'm also throwing into scratchers into these different meme coins in a small percentage of my bag, because, you know, you never know. And, well, ever since I threw that into Ink and I got shat on, well, everyone's kind of come on the board now. Everyone's kind of turned the tide a little bit. And Ink's really a great thing that's happening in our ecosystem too. We talk about PDI. Ink's a great thing that's happening. And I don't know if people realize this, but do you guys know what Richard Hart said his favorite meme coin was on Pulse Chain?
I think it was like a green X or something, wasn't it?
He said Ink was his favorite meme token on Pulse Chain. So don't fade it.
You want to hear something funny about that story? So Richard pays attention to I've said this on another stream before. So Richard pays attention to the chain, like super close, right?
Of course.
So when
all the narratives too, not just the chain, right? The narratives of the chain.
For sure, the beef, the everything. And also Richard Hart follows me, so that's a good flex for me.
He also follows Will, so it's not that much of a flex on this channel.
Actually, he follows Jeff now too. So Jeff and Will. We got
nice.
two.
So the thing is, like,
just
everyone
dilute the value. Dude, good job getting Richard to follow you, bro. You've built an excellent system. This is fantastic.
For sure. Well, he's followed me for a while because my name used to be Almighty Hexkin. Had to take the Hexkin out. It was so not because I don't necessarily like Hex. It's just because if I want to go into another ecosystem and tell them about Pulse Chain, they're just gonna look at me and like, oh, look at this loser dork cult member, whatever. But if I just Almighty, then I can speak in a different, you know what I mean? I can pretend to be an ETH person and be like, oh, you know, I just got into Pulse Chain because it's cheap. You know, I'm not just like, I'm a maxi, I come buy my tokens. Anyways, to circle back. So Richard Hart follows me. So he sees everything that I'm doing. Obviously, I'm on his timeline, right? So when we launched a mic, it's straight green mic, Monsters Inc., you know, on the timeline. So we were doing a lot of X's. Ink went from $3 to $10 in this weekend. And Richard Hart, he tweeted, he said, incentive token is my favorite meme coin. He's the one who discovered Hart's Law. So the only meme coin at the time that was paired, or really the only coin that was paired this thickly to Ink was Mike. It had like 130K LP at the time. And then the next tweet, he says, I really like GoPulse. So when you go on GoPulse at that same second, you had this big green X. They added the GoPulse just added the mic logo. Like they just added it. So then we had this huge bubble on GoPulse. So when you click the link off of what Richard tweeted with the GoPulse and you go to the screen, it's just this big, nothing else was going on. It was all red and it was just Mike going crazy and Ink going crazy, but you had the mic bubble. So like my conspiracy theory brain was Richard soft shield Mike. That's what it felt like. because he knows what's going on chain, right? He knew that this token was going crazy. You could see the transactions. I mean, you could see the hype. Everyone was flooding it, and you know, maybe he didn't shill it, but in my head, it makes me feel better to think that Richard was paying attention and that he noticed. So,
well, let's hope he notices this weekend as well. You know, another good launch.
Pump post chain, Richard, just do it.
let's pump everything this weekend, right? That
Yes.
would be good for everybody.
For sure, bro. We need a rally, man. It's been kind of depressing here recently, but
Yeah, it has. But you know what? Just stay. Look, we've talked to so many people off the ledge in our Telegram too, because look, it's hard. You told me you've been through the bear market, Nate. Will we went very hard through the bear market, and we were buying the very, very lows, and we were buying the very, very lows of Pulse Chain, and you know, we believe in it. We believe in this long term. And so we don't want people to give up yet, because we're going to get there. We're going to get there together. We're going to get there building this together. So, yeah.
Man, we're still sack rate. We're underneath sack rate right now.
Yeah.
52 weeks to check out the losers, man. We're getting there, bro. There's a lot of losers that are gone. So.
There are. And look, the more people we shake out, I've said this in our Telegram and on shows before, the more people you shake out, the more people that are gone, that just means there's less resistance on the way up. So think about this. People that would have waited have already, that didn't believe, right? People that don't believe, they're not going to stick around and keep waiting this out, right? Because they're like, I'm out. I'm on to something else. They're chasing green candles on Solana or base, and they're getting rugged left and right. But the less weekends we have when this starts to pump, that means a lot less resistance. And people don't think about that. But Richard Hart does. And he realizes that once these green candles start taking off, it's going to be a chain reaction.
For sure, man. And the last time we pumped, he didn't inject that much money into the chain. But because he was injecting money into the chain, we got a FOMO pump. So to think that he's over there, farming DAI, basically making ridiculous amounts of money a month.
Crazy.
Well, he only injected 700K into one of the pumps, and we rallied really nicely. If he's making $3, $4, or $5 million a month over on ETH, but he has to bridge in $1 million a week and just pump the chain. Like I know that's expectation of profit from others, but the thing is, it's a possibility. So it's like if you do want to sleep on this chain, we might be the
kind of losing it. But actually, so to go with what you're saying there, Almighty, the thing that there's a lot of people right now who, like we got to talk some people off the ledge. The reason why we have to talk them off the ledge is because of the way, it's so boring, yet everything else on Solana is blowing up, right? So here's what people are doing. They are leaving and selling out of the Hex and Pulse and all that, moving over to Solana and all those places, which are big green candles, okay? So the second everything is kind of set, and you have more than one billionaire who starts pumping in, right, liquidity, and everything starts fucking flying, who's coming back? Those people who were already in these tokens, who already know the ecosystem and are like, oh my God, there's huge green candles over there now. And it's just like what happened with Solana. I'm going over there now with all my millions of dollars. That right there, I believe, is when we are going to absolutely skyrocket. And here's the thing too. It's so easy to see that it's a very high likeliness that this is going to happen, that I don't understand why anybody would not just wait, right? Put it in a vault wallet and pretend you didn't buy it, right? Don't push the red button, guys, because if you do, you are gonna miss out. Or maybe you'll get your 10x, your lousy 10x, once we've already 100x'd up, but whatever. You guys do what you want to do.
People to leave. I know that sounds bad, but we need people to gamble and we need people to leave. Rackham, he's been dumping. Right, Rackham has to get out. I don't think that Richard liked that Rackham took a whole bunch of Saudi money and pulled it in and did what he did. So I think that shaking him out was one of the bigger things that Richard could do.
So get them all out.
Yeah. So I do have a question though. There was a little bit. I was hearing some rumors, right? rumors about your ecosystem that maybe you might want to address. So one of the things I've been hearing is like you're using copyrighted materials, right, to basically make your entire ecosystem here. Do we need to fear any kind of like wreckage happening because of maybe some court stuff going on?
I do not believe so, for a couple of reasons. Is I have a copyright lawyer, told me I was good. Partly because we're on a decentralized chain that runs on IPFS. Can't shut us down. You cannot shut my token down at all. There's no possible way. Just like they can't shut Pulse Chain down for being a security. Also, all of our images are AI generated, so they're not actually like, I'm not using Mike Wazowski's body like drawing as it so it was straight. Also, I made it a point to make the @ on Twitter Monster Inc. token instead of Monsters Inc. token. So there's a letter missing. Right? You're missing the S, so that plays a big part in that too. And we're a tiny chain right now. Like, we could do well this cycle. We're not getting Pixar's attention, Disney's attention. If somebody wants to go, snitch or whatever, I doubt that Pixar tries to put money into something like this. It's such a small chain, and then you'd have to find me and reach out to me. It's like, good luck. Like, who's to say that I'm the real founder? I could just be playing pretend, Like, that's not my wallet. And so there's so many loopholes in that aspect that it's a dead narrative. There's no point. Now,
so what you're saying is you're basically like a China off-brand.
Yeah, basically. Well, there was one on ETH that was Batman. They used the Batman logo, and they got it. But that's because they specifically used the Batman logo. So they kind of got it. And you're on ETH, so you're this huge chain. So like, exactly. But I mean, we're trying to get to that point though, eventually. But I think for this cycle, we're good. And then like if we go to a bear market in the next cycle, these things will survive. And we're in the next market. And if like they do want to freak out about it, there's always rebranding, bro. Like, if that token already has it's there, the community, it already did really good run up, really good crash, really good run up again, then you just have to rebrand, bro. It wouldn't be an issue. But like I said, my copyright lawyer said I was straight, so not something I've been worried about at all.
Free speech, immutable projects. What's better than that?
Yes, sir. That's the whole point, man. That's why we're on the freedom chain, man.
It is. You know what? And I think a lot of people, you say that lightly. People here probably know, but I think a lot of people don't realize how decentralized Pulse Chain really is, how free it really is. Even compared to what other projects that are supposed to be considered decentralized, they really aren't that decentralized. And what's being built here and what has been built, especially from a privacy standpoint, that's incredible.
For sure. And we basically have a Tornado Cash too as well. So like, we have ultimate privacy on our chain. Yeah, the IPFS thing too. It's frustrating. It's so frustrating, bro.
Yeah.
But that we're ahead of the game. That Richard knows what he's doing. That like Uniswap right now, they just got smacked. So like, I think every DEX in crypto is gonna have to get KYC'd. And if they like Pancake Swap, right? So if they get hit with the SEC and they're like, oh, you guys got a KYC, I bet you that they're one of the ones that goes IPFS and says fuck you. And then Richard's just going to look like a god all over again. It's like, oh, he was right again. Oh, he was right the whole bear market. Plus, when we got into this bull market in the very beginning, he was right again with the IPFS structure. As much as it's frustrating, it's kind of safe. It makes you feel good inside, where it's like, yeah, they can shut the website off. They can shut blah, blah, blah off. But guess what? We're good because we can always get to our money.
We can always run it from our own nodes. I don't want to talk a lot about Uniswap, but you brought it up, because we're going to talk about that, I'm sure, on our Sunday show. Our Sunday show, we're going to talk a lot about the Richard Hart trial. But, as most people know, when Richard Hart got sued, what did Uniswap do? They delisted Hex. So is Uniswap going to delist all of their tokens? Are they going to delist every token that they have? Like, look, they're so hypocritical, but I think this is good for Richard Hart. In fact, if you looked at Richard Hart's tweet, was it yesterday? And he talked about, look, all of these, the SEC is going off to everybody in crypto. It's not just me. So we need to band together. We need to fight this evil segment of the government together. And I think this is beneficial for Richard Hart, because as everyone else is getting sued, it's now like, okay, they have to now realize that it's not Richard Hart, it's not Hex. It's just the SEC overstepping what their authority is supposed to be. and going after things that really don't fall into their jurisdiction, but they don't care about that. All they're doing is trying to rule by enforcement. And as they continue to take L after L, loss after loss, it's only going to continue to stack wins for the community and continue to create precedents for cryptocurrencies. So I think this is good for Richard Hart and maybe Uniswap if you're listening, which you're probably not, or Matcha or CowSwap or whoever else. Maybe it's time to get some Pulse Chain, PulseX, some Hex. Let's get some of these coins on your platforms so that we can start providing liquidity cross chain.
I mean, I also think it's SEC trying to suppress crypto, because they know that everyone's money is like, so like when I think this is with everybody, try to put money into crypto, your bank is like, no, like we don't want you to do that. Like I've been inside my bank on the phone with the head office trying to put in $2,000 from a debit card on a crypto. Dead every single time, and they're in the bank telling me like, oh, you should be fine. I'm like, well, I'm clearly not, because crypto.com, Coinbase, they wouldn't accept it. And they try to say that it was crypto.com and Coinbase. It's like, no, it's not. I promise you, they want my money.
Yeah.
So I think that it's SEC not liking that the money's leaving the regular system and getting into our own hands, and then it's also them trying to manipulate market. So like, short the uni token or buy the uni token when it dumps, or you know what I mean? Like there's so many insiders in the SEC that's like, hey guys, we're gonna go after Hex today, short Hex or so it's like, I don't know, it's garbage. You could definitely tell there's insiders.
Yeah, the way here's you're correct about that. I'm gonna add on just a little bit deeper, right? Or I'm gonna dig a little deeper. Let's say what it actually is the governments of the world are realizing just how free people are getting with this Wild West of crypto, and they realize, we're in trouble here. The US dollar is being taken over by this thing called Bitcoin, and there's a lot of other things in there that are making people financially free, and they don't need to leave the ecosystems. They don't need to.
Yeah.
Right. And so what they're doing, and the technology moves so fast that they can't even get a law out of, they can't even look at anything like how do you regulate this, right? They have no idea how to even look at it because things are moving so fast. There's new technologies, new ways of doing things, and it's moving so fast that basically what the governments of the world kind of did, or specifically I would say the Fed, because of the US dollar, right? But what they did is they held up their hand, said this is moving way too fast, it's out of control. And so let's try and slow it down. And of course, their main way of slowing it down is going to be, we're suing you because you're a security, just some bullshit, stupid stuff like that. And then they start fighting the crap out of it with freaking like regulations and laws and things like that. And you're a criminal. And they started saying that it's only for drug money and shit like that. And they're just slowing it down. That's all that they're trying to do right now, as much as possible.
Yeah. It's funny because they got a bunch of crypto, so like fight it. I don't understand.
Ew.
The first NFT was a dick. Oh no, never mind. Excuse me. That was BlackRock. I'm thinking of the wrong wallet. BlackRock's first NFT was a dick with butt. Nothing to do with the SEC. Just a funny fact.
That's funny. That's another thing too. BlackRock put 100 million USDC into Ethereum? Have they moved that yet? Are they gambling? Like, it's interesting.
We'll find out.
Wonder what they buy.
We live in a clown world, boys. We're a bunch of ants in an anthill, and there's a whole bunch of people clumping around with big old boots just trying to squash everything. So the best you can do is be like a soldier ant and bite them and get out of the way.
Yeah, man. We're in a simulation for sure, bro.
Yep.
It's too weird how everything works.
But look at what happens every time the SEC sues somebody. It becomes less and less important. It doesn't affect the market much, right? People are just onto their games, and that's good. And we have so many people coming in. Obviously, ETFs, bring in whales and institutions that will control the price a bit, but also brings in a lot more money, brings in a lot more eyes into the ecosystem, into crypto in general. And it gives the opportunity for normal people, normies, right, to look at crypto and be like, okay, maybe this is something that I need to look into more, And so I think that the money coming in from institutions is really important, but the SEC is not going to be long. I don't think I would be shocked if Mr. Gensler, Mr. Gary Gensler, made it through the end of this year.
Yeah, I don't know how he's still there, bro.
It's election year.
He taught Bitcoin classes in MIT like way back in the day, and then he sat there and told Congress that he doesn't own any Bitcoin. I was like, how does that work? Like, please tell me. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. You know what? He also said in that class, he said, yeah, about 75% of coins aren't securities. And now he's saying every coin's security.
Oh, man. It's
literally, it's on tape.
Yeah, that money changes people, man.
Corruption changes people too, you know. But yeah.
Well,
what do you got?
Corrupt money.
I'm just thinking, like, what if Gary is Satoshi? What if that's what?
Oh man. Jeez.
Will, not this again. He's got a wild conspiracy theory about.
Oh, I'm there too, man.
I think it's a combination of Hunter Biden and Gary Gensler, and with their powers combined. Oh, and also Craig Wright. With their powers combined, they created Satoshi Nakamoto. That's where he came from.
Yeah, all of Hunter Biden's art skills.
Yep. He painted that white paper using cocaine.
And he purposely left that laptop with those pictures on it just to throw us off the trail.
Yep.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get back off, out of the rabbit hole, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, Almighty, anything else you want to tell the people? Anything? Well, why don't you first do this before? And we're not closing out just a second, but where can people find you? And obviously, we put your Telegram already in our description. I know we have the links, but just tell the people where they can find you and who they should be following to stay up to date.
Yeah, that's good. So it's Almighty 5555, just like Will's tattoo. I like that tattoo. It's 2 A's, so AALMIGHTY 5555. And then the Monsters Inc. X account is Monster Inc. token. So to find that, it'll be a blue M with a white background. And we are verified. I just changed the name from Mike because it was just the Mike one. So I changed it to be because we got verified and got a bunch of followers. So I was like, I don't think stretching the people out to multiple Twitter accounts is smart. So I'm just going to make a central Twitter. So you can follow that one too. People to follow, bro. Sunny Detect 420. Tokenomics. It's a couple. I mean, dude, there's so many. I could sit here and just make a list of like 100 people. There's so many good-hearted, smart people out there that are just. I mean, it's yeah. I think Gib Merks, GIBMERCS. He's called God Calls. He called Dick with Butt at 11K market cap. So like, yeah, we make a lot of. He called Desktop super early. Like, there's a lot of people that have a lot of good alpha, and have really only done good things for the chain. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I'd have to really think about that. But I'll probably make a post about that. Like, what are all the good people to follow? Because that is a good thing to touch base on. It's like, who do I follow when I get into the ecosystem? You know, there's a good amount of people there.
Yeah, that's actually a list that I was thinking about making ourselves for DJ Roundtable, and specifically, we actually are coming out with some things here down in the future as far as lists go on what we recommend. Stay tuned for that one. But yeah, I kind of feel like not enough people create these lists of like, hey, these are the guys to go follow and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
On that quick note, I'm gonna give a shout out to Tiago Forte on X. He talks about using your phone, using pieces of paper, using your computer, using Excel spreadsheets, using lists, calendars. Don't use your brain for remembering things. Use the tools that are around you that are way better. Like, use Google instead of remembering shit. Use your phone to remember all your contact information. Use all these tools to have access to this, like, this wealth of knowledge and information that exists in the world. Don't use your squishy gray bits. Your squishy gray bits are for ideas and for thinking and problem solving. It's not meant to be like a shitty version of memory. So Tiago Forte on X, for those of you who are interested in building a better brain.
And when you say ideas, I assume you mean only bad ideas.
Only bad ideas. Only bad ideas, right? No one's allowed to have good ideas in this chat or this podcast.
Hey Will, I was kind of wondering what's your thoughts on Mike token and everything that Almighty's been talking about here today.
So I love the Mike token. I actually found out about Rewarder before, or like the Rewarder ecosystem. So I had INCR before I had Mike, and
Copy of that
as far as I can tell, that they're both essentially the same thing. They buy the tokens off the market. Rewarder has a whole bunch of other things, and they have this weird ecosystem. I'm not entirely sure, but I love the branding that you've done, Almighty. Like, I think that's the sticky part, right? So like the concept is cool and everything. Like anybody can make a beer, but not anybody can create the brand that is Budweiser. Not anyone can create the brand that is Modelo. So like assigning this fun, Monsters Inc. sales point to this super cool the super cool system that you built is, I think, the thing that's probably going to make you more successful than any of the other rewarder tokens, is because you've capitalized on like a very strong mimetic sticky point, right? So everybody that's in our age demographic, whether they're 70 years old like Brendan, or they're 9 years old like you, anyone in between that zone, right? Anyone in between that zone is gonna love Monsters Inc. because it's classic. Like, you can't hate Monsters Inc. So
right.
you did phenomenal there, and so I'm super duper stoked to see what you got going on in the system. And I'm like, like everyone else is saying, I'm crazy impressed with the fact that you're 23 years old and you're kicking ass taking names in this ecosystem. So good shit, bro. Those are my thoughts on Mike.
When I was 23, we didn't even have color TVs.
Yeah. Brendan's over there. He's got his Flintstones car in the background. I'm over here. I'm fucking balding in gray, and Nate's over there doing adult things and stuff. And bro, like good shit, man. Good shit, Almighty. This is fantastic, bro.
I appreciate you saying that, because that was kind of exactly what I had targeted, where I saw Sunny's ecosystem, where it's beautifully designed. Like, it's perfect. The math is there. Even the Atropa dev said his math is flawless, which is pretty big coming from someone who's literally entire career is physics. And so I upped the tax on it and made it a meme. So that was like, my thing was, it's a meme coin. Look at it like a meme coin. Don't look at it like a rewards token, because then you have an expectation of what the rewards can be. Because the first 3 days, the first week of a reward token, everyone's like, I'm making so much money. And then it's like, after that, they're like, oh, the rewards suck. I think I'm going to dump. So like, you want to make it a meme coin. You don't want to make it an expectation token. But yeah, I appreciate the branding, man. That's a lot of what I put into it.
Yeah, bro. Everything in life is sales. Remember that. Everything.
Yes. Richard Hart taught me that.
Better you are at selling. Yep.
I got to give a quick shout out. Brothers64 super chat. Can we pull that up? Thank you so much, brothers. Every single show that we put out, his man's coming up with a little super chat, and really appreciate you. Great friend of the channel, great friend of ours, and thanks as always for tuning in. This is eye-opening for me. Like I said, I like Will said, not only is Monsters Inc. Something that draws people to it, even old farts like me. Although I'm not that old, 69.
I know. Nice.
Not 70 yet.
And I'm 420.
But also it's funny that the colors work so well within the Pulse Chain ecosystem, right? We have the green, we have the pink, and sort of the blue and the red. And a lot of those colors are main characters within Monsters Inc. ecosystem. So it's so easy to just pull those together and tie it together. So I love that. I do love Monsters Inc. I didn't think it was possible.
Oh, and it's also meant to try to grab the younger crowd. Because like for me, I was born in 2000. So like the movie came out in 2001. Monsters Inc. is my childhood. Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, WALL-E, like all those things.
Yeah.
So like if I can attract a younger crowd, because I know there's 20-year-olds in Pulse Chain. There's not a lot, but there's a lot more in ETH. So like if we can get meme coins to pop off on nostalgic children's movies that they know they watched, then maybe that brings us some adoption. I know for a fact I brought Turkish investors as adoption, and they used Portal X Swap to get into it. And then I brought a lot of Arbitrum users over as well. And that's hard to get. Like Arbitrum is kind of a weird pocket of the market. It's hard to get, bro. So I had a YouTuber make a video about Arbitrum, how to buy from Arbitrum and stuff like that. It did pretty well. So
that's cool.
Just trying to get adoption. I'm not trying to cram my stuff down Pulse Chain throat. I'm trying to cram my stuff down Ethereum, Arbitrum, AVAX, Binance. Like I'm trying to get those people in because there's only so much money that we can wash around between each other.
Agreed.
I want to go ahead and
onboard more people. That's the bottom line for everybody.
Agreed. I want to go ahead and make a little bit of a kind of an interesting observation that I've seen. So as of lately, I would say within the blood, right? The bloody streets that is Pulse Chain, I've been noticing a lot of creators and a lot of supporters saying, okay, enough of, and in fact, I think this may have started right around Hex and the Richard Hart tweet, but there's enough people now who are sitting there saying, okay, enough of talking about, what it is we're doing. What we need now is to start shouting out to other people and other chains, and even in the traditional financial system, to come here now. I've been hearing a lot of people who said exactly what you've said right there, Almighty, that it's I really don't care about if people are pumping my bags or whatever, right? Pumping my coin. What I'm caring about is getting adoption from over there and moving in over here.
Yeah. And I mean, Sami tries that. Right? He screams to the top. So I appreciate Sami for doing that. We need more influencers though, because a lot of them have every influencer has a bias. Like, do they have the token? I don't know. And if they don't have the token, they're not really incentivized to talk about that, right? So like, we need more people, just regular shillers, basically. Like, yeah. So we need meme coin shillers on our chain, man.
Yeah, we're a big fan of Sami, and we're a big fan of people that are really trying to help people. We're trying to do the same thing on our show. And we're growing, and we've grown much faster than we ever anticipated. And I think it's because, how great the Pulse Chain ecosystem is and the people that are invested in it. We've kind of been accepted with open arms by so many large influencers, and, we've been given so many compliments, during the Hex conference. And since then, Access Alive is always giving us shout outs and props, and there's just a bunch of people that we wouldn't be here without. So we're really thankful, and we want to continue to give back to the people and to the community, and to help as many people as we can.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, right? And the interesting thing too is we haven't quite gotten there yet, but we are looking to expand out. I'm working on something right now, trying to start kind of moving over to the Phantom people and start talking with them, right? And I can tell you right now that if we could just introduce people who love Phantom to Pulse Chain, there is a huge overlap there. There's a reason why, Pulse Chain became my favorite, right? But before Pulse Chain, it was by far Phantom. And right now, Phantom is my second most allocated out, and I still love Phantom a lot. They do a lot of the same things Pulse Chain does. So right now, if I'm not, I'm just saying, right? It might be a good time if anybody's looking to go after another chain and try and like group together like that. I'm just saying, it might be Phantom. Okay, guys, you might want to kind of head that direction a little bit.
I was gonna say that.
We lost you, Almighty.
Rugged! Gary Gensler went to his inner house and pulled the plug.
Oh, I think we got him back. We got him back?
Yeah.
All right, we got you back. You were saying you wanted to say that, and then it cut out. It was so perfect.
That's for Rugged.
Oh,
yeah.
Not a Solana. Okay. No, I was gonna say, I think Phantom is our competitor. Like, if we do better than Phantom this cycle, I'm happy. And another thing is too, like, bringing the Phantom users over. So my poll, so Boo from Monsters Inc., the little girl, that's gonna be a token, right? So I got that idea from Spooky Swap. They have a token called Boo, right? And it's gonna be the PulseX reward token, because Spooky Swap is their exchange and their token is Boo. So we got PulseX, and then our ticker is gonna be Boo. And I think Boo is like just the gas ticker in general, because DCC, he's the only reason why I bought Boo and BooX. And so like now I can kind of transfer that onto Pulse Chain, and they can see the Boo ticker, and then I could be like, hey, there's Boo on Pulse Chain. So,
it's funny. I love that. And yeah, I think DCC is the reason I bought Phantom and Boo too. So we got something in common there. Shout out to DCC and CC, Cultivate Crypto, all across crypto. You know, it was funny because this morning when we were talking, and we actually on one of our small separate chats, we actually pulled up the mic chart this morning, and we're like, wow, this looks really prime. You know, it looks like at perfect support zone, kind of like prime time buying area. And so we kind of threw it out into a couple chats, and a few people bought it this morning. And the people that bought it, they're already up 40% from the time that we told them to buy it this morning.
Nice.
But you know, it's not even close to all-time highs, so it doesn't mean it's a bad buy just because it pumped a few percentage one day. Thinking really good things about it. So
we held it 1 million market cap pretty strong for like a while. And on Pulse Chain, it's tough to do, man. Like to hold 1 million market cap, like you can tell there's a floor. Like we did the huge, wick, and then it's just a big bull flag right now. And then also like for people to look at the price versus ink. Don't look at the dollar value because ink pumps, we can pump too, but we're looking at doing better than ink. So if we can do better than ink, we're winning hard.
Yeah, and then getting ink on top of it, so it's not just your tokens going up, but you're also earning ink just by holding it. So you're winning even more than just what your tokens are worth.
For sure, man. And
OG, we got a little super chat here.
Yes, sir. I was I was in Vegas with him, man. As one of the dudes I met. I really went to the Vegas meetup just to network, man. And he was one of the cool cats I met out there, man.
I love it. OG, thanks for stopping in. We are getting close to 10 o'clock, so I think we should start wrapping up. Nate, Will, any last questions or statements for Almighty before we head out?
All I got is that I'm excited to see what else you got in the store, bro. Keep it up. Don't ever stop.
Yeah, looking forward to Saturday, for real. Saturday is going to be awesome. Personally, like in looking at these ecosystems that are coming out, right? Like I've been a big component for the Hex Orange Address HOA, the Atropa ecosystem, right? It's looking kind of, to me at least, it's looking a lot,
WBTC. Right? There's a lot of good coins that are pretty low right now.
Oh yeah.
The P Stables God Trio, as I call them. But yeah, yep. So you definitely want to be looking at these ecosystems, right, and kind of figuring out how they work. Again, I've been painting Pulse Chain as like a city, and these ecosystems are parts of the city. Atropa is basically just kind of like an electrical grid at this point, and I would say like HOA is like the hood over there. No, I'm joking, guys. Okay, don't come at me, but but they're definitely like a section of the city that people want to go and party and hang out with and just have a good old time. So yeah, no, I'm absolutely loving the development here because I mean I don't know what I would call you at this point, right, with Monsters Inc. But it'll definitely be something to kind of, as you're advancing more, you're gonna get more and more of a look into what part of the city you're gonna be. So
exactly. To add on to that real quick is I think that we have the Tang Gang, I think that we have the 9-inch guys, and I think we have Atropa. And then I'm trying to butt my way in there and trying to keep it a little 4-piece. Because that's really, I mean, if you think about it, we just have 9-inch HOA and then the Atropa. And Atropa isn't meme coins, right? But it's just a system that you have to acknowledge. It's funny because you don't get acknowledgement on Atropa a lot of times. And I'm trying to get acknowledgement. So I appreciate you guys for acknowledging me. It's tough. It's tough out there.
It certainly is, and we appreciate it as well. We're the same thing, we're trying to grow, we're trying to get more eyes on us and trying to grow our community. So we're always happy to bring people on and introduce them to our community. Maybe they've known about Mike and known about you, and many of them haven't. So this is eye opening for them. And look, we're just trying to bring eyes to the Pulse Chain ecosystem, what's being built here. And again, there's just so many great minds that are building, and I'm just super excited. I mean, I've seen the chats gains by Casey. I don't know if we have that start or not, but he was saying that this stream made him even more bullish on Pulse Chain, which he didn't think was possible. So that was it's exciting when we talk about what's really happening in the ecosystem. A lot of times people get so hyper focused on one thing that they don't realize everything else that's happening out there, and so trying to bring light to it.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, you boys are doing a good job. I'll definitely start watching and paying attention to the streams more. I didn't know you guys were around, and that's, I feel like I was, in tune with a lot of post chain. So like to find out there's a pocket that I don't know is humbling.
It's kind of interesting. We've kind of found ourselves in a place where we're almost like a news broadcast station, right? Where everybody where all these like different ecosystems can kind of like plug themselves into, or kind of like a central spot at this point. But people don't usually know about us that they can do that, right? Until after we've reached out to them, and then they're like, oh wait, these guys are good, right? And then they plug in as well. So it's pretty neat.
We're trying to connect all of the ecosystem, and also just, economic, financial. We do a lot of other stuff in our channel too, to try to get people to better themselves outside of just, again, financial gains, because it doesn't matter how much money you have. Money's not going to make you happy if you don't have the rest of your life in order. And so you got to get your mind right, got to get your body right. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that. Everybody's different, but you don't just
shout out book club.
We do a book club every Friday. So Will and one of our other members, Zenith, they host a book club every Friday. So we're really trying to just put out a ton of knowledge out there, to really trying to get people to grow. And I haven't read most of those books, but the ones that I have are so far really great.
That's funny. You guys read books on Friday and we watch movies.
I love it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, but we are slowly getting through Sci-Vive too. So, shout out to Richard Hart.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. Shout out to Richard.
But, yeah, that's the thing about our Telegram channel too. Like, I mean, I know I've shouted this out a lot, but like in our Telegram, it's not just only crypto. It's crypto, finances in general. So it's like for real estate and stuff like that too. But then there's also fitness going on in there for people who want to try and improve themselves that way as well. Mindsets, things like that. So, I mean, there's a lot more going on than just only crypto. And I'll tell you what, if you want to advance, you want to get in our Telegram. You want to be connected to the DGen Roundtable in some sort of fashion.
Oh yeah, fitness is priority.
We have people that own fitness companies. We have people that own their own gyms. We have a lot of people in our community that are just like a wealth of knowledge in a lot of areas. So it's great.
I mean, if you want to learn about animes too, like,
I don't know if you're an anime fan, but we're probably going to do a couple offshoot anime episodes for fun here coming up at some point.
That'd be kind of cool, man.
Yeah, we like to have fun. It's
I
you can't take yourself too seriously. All right, so we are about to close out. So Will, tell the people what you got coming up, and I know where they can find you. T.me/hex_meetup.
That is correct. So for the folks at home who don't know who I am or what I do, my name is Will Stevenson. I do a lot of networking and stuff for the DGen Roundtable. I also, in real life, am an iron worker, and so I'm traveling around the States, meeting up with people in lots of places. So I built this Telegram that you guys can see down below right here. It is t.me/hex_meetup. It's for hexicans to basically organize small scale meetups on your own. You don't need to wait for the Pulse Chain Conference. You don't need to wait for the CMC guys to organize something. You don't need to wait for KSB.TV to set up a big like tour thing. What you guys do is you hop on down into this Telegram. You go to the little Start Here page. You read through the Start Here stuff. You introduce yourself in the introductions chat, and then you just hop into any of the topics, or you create your own room topic that will basically just like highlight, hey, this is the location, like the generalized location of the world that I'm in. And then you reach out to other people that chat around in that same location. You guys just make your own little meetups. I'm currently on the border of Illinois and Indiana, over nearby. Shoot, I don't even know. I'm in bumfuck nowhere, Illinois. But in the near future, I'm going to be heading over to St. Louis. So I know that there's a couple Hexicans over there. So you guys know who you are. I'm not going to dox you live on the air, but I'm coming your way, and we're going to do some cool meetup stuff here in the near future.
How soon, Will? I'm going to be in Missouri coming up soon. How soon are you going to be there?
I anticipate like in a week or two.
I'll be there tomorrow
and then
till Tuesday.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see what we can do. I rolled through Florida earlier, but I did not have time to roll down to Miami because I just barely made I got here last night at about 3 in the morning, and then we started work at 7. So I just barely made all my stops. Otherwise, I would have swung down and seen you in Miami. But bro, let's something up. But anyways, you guys can find me. You guys can find me in this chat right here. The best way to reach out to me is on Telegram. Otherwise, you guys can find me at Linktree /Will Stevenson. I will go ahead and drop that in the chat for you guys. But that is what I got going on for me. Mr. Nate McGettit, bro, what do you got going on? Oh, and for book club, I'm going to go ahead and shout it out for this week. Zenith is going to be hosting book club, and I'm pulling it up right now. It looks like we're going to be covering the book Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. So Thinking in Bets this Friday, right after, well, no, you might, never mind, disregard. This Friday, we're going to be doing Thinking in Bets. Zenith will be hosting it, and you guys can catch us all over there in 2 days. Nate, what's going on with you, bro?
Just continuing on, working, continuing the grind. And yeah, as of right now, there's a lot of people who feel like they're falling behind, or they're not going to be able to make gains this cycle because they're too late. And so because of that, I have opened up my consults. I have been consulting people about their portfolios and what coins to really kind of get into, so that way they can still make gains, but also not get rugged. And as well as many other different questions that people like, especially setting up money printers, so that way you can basically retire and never have to actually sell your crypto into dollars, which we do not want to do. Okay. So yeah, with all that being said, here's my link tree. I just dropped that into the chat. Go ahead, hit me up there, and yeah, give me a follow on. Yeah, actually, give me a follow on X. There's a lot of. I don't post too often, but when I do, it's something that you're going to want to watch for, because it's hinting at some extreme alpha. I'll just go ahead and say that. So pay attention, guys, and yeah, let's kick her out.
Yeah. Monsters Inc., baby.
Thank you, guys. So before we close this out, I just want to remind everybody to please like, subscribe, follow. Definitely follow Monster Inc. on X. Follow Muddy5555 on X. And keep an eye out, because that new token launching this Saturday, getting the Telegram for them. I love that shirt. So sick, so sick. Getting the Monster Inc. Telegram so that you get that contract address when it first comes out. You're not going to know which one it is, because there's 10 verified addresses right now, and you don't know which one it's going to be. So you got to be in that chat if you want to get the alpha. Also, join our Telegram right down below, in that QR code. Scan it, join it. It's free for now. It might not be free. I know, I've been saying this for like 2 months, but it's not going to be free soon. So anyone that's in there, not going to have to pay. But anybody after, we got to start charging a little bit of money, because just so many bots and so many people trying to get in there. So thank you, Will. That is the mic address on PulseX, which is great. Again, not financial advice, so do your research before you buy anything. It's your choice to buy. It's your choice to sell. And we're just here to provide some financial entertainment. Almighty, anything else you want to tell the people before we head out?
No, man. I appreciate it for the platform. Guys, we're early. I know we're a year in, but we're so early. It's hard to see, but you just have to kind of diamond hand, do as Richard says, and delay your gratification, bro. We're here for the long term. We're all here for mad gains, and I think that we can all actually see those gains. So
absolutely
appreciate it, bro. Y'all always have a blessed night, and get ready for Saturday, man.
Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah.
If you don't mind sticking around in the green room after we end the show, just to decompress for a minute. But just want to thank everybody. It's a really fun stream. I really enjoyed it, Almighty. And we know your name now, so you're doxxed. And that's great. It's good to know who's creating coins.
Elijah in the Bible was a prophet. That's all I gotta say.
Have you read the Bible? It's a trick question. It's okay. No, I said, have you read the Bible? But Berserk. Not read that.
That's not the Bible.
No,
that's my laptop holder. But anyways, go ahead and do it. Yeah. Take us away, Brendan.
Yeah, so follow me on X at anonymous_bean, and get in our Telegram. Again, if anyone needs consultations, that's great. We have a website that will be launching here, hopefully within the next couple weeks to a month. And we got a lot more content to bring to you. So thank you again, Elijah. Really, really excited about what you have building. I think it's going to be a good platform for the entire Pulse chain and Pulse X ecosystem. And anyone who's the first time checking us out, we stream Sunday nights 8 p.m., Wednesday night 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then Fridays, we have our book club also at 8 p.m. Every once in a while, we might have an emergency stream, but most of our emergency calls.
You muted.
Oh, fiddlesticks.
My hands aren't even near anything. How do I get anyway? So most of all of our emergency streams happen in our Telegram, so you won't see those on YouTube too often. But if you're in there, we if there's big news that's dropping of something that we need to address right away, you'll be the first to hear it, and I guarantee that. So
Nice.
With that, thank you all that's checked in for the first time. Thank you to all of our community and the regulars. We hope to see you all soon, and we will catch you on the Pulse chain side of things. Degen responsibly, everybody. We are out.